How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Now, we can't ignore these significant moves. We're seeing a break of the moving averages, reclaiming all of them, meaning that the EMA trend is back again bullish. The time spent under the 200 EMA was considered undervalued for Bitcoin, and it's recovered that 200-day long average, so the trend goes back to bullish. But we need to really be aware of upcoming resistances, and we can see now that the 786, 886, and 1 fib level is cleared, these higher Fibonacci targets are now all valid. So those are now our expectations, but understanding, we can see some are lining up with previous points of resistance. We need to be careful of those areas. We can see support within this area. Could this just be a retest? We've seen a retest in the past, but that was happening during a period where Bitcoin and altcoins were trading under the moving averages. Now price is above. It's got more validity. It's got more, the probabilities are way more in its favor. It's got more chances of actually sustaining this time. But we need to keep aware of those resistances. I do have a few other Bitcoin charts. There's so many ways of analyzing this. So I've just literally put a support on the first support of this range. It was then lost. We can see it was confirmed as resistance here. And we've just seen a break through that area. So we're seeing a previous support, which was once confirmed resistance, now being recovered. This is all bullish. We're also clearing this range high. We can see after creating a level of support, a double bottom down here, we had a pump back up into that area, then put in a new lower low. So this became our new range high, as this is the rejection area. I've just created a box between those two levels. And yeah, we can see that we've totally cleared this lower range. So now that we're back above this, what happened previously when this was support, we saw Bitcoin pumping above 100K. So that is what my belief is, that the target is 100K. However, going back to that other chart where we have these micro fibs, this is the more macro fib measuring the whole entire dump, the micro being this dump from the top of our range down over here. Remember, I dissected the two ranges, here being one of them, support and resistance, here support and resistance. So going back to that other, we've cleared that range, and so we're looking at meeting these higher end targets. We've got the Fibonacci's in alignment suggesting that, and we can see 95, 96, 99 and 105K being the immediate next ones. Going back to that other chart, these are also listed with the macro Fibonacci, so they're tying into each other. If I were to place both sets, we can see on the break of that 88K level, it initiated the move into these targets. First target met, and we've been struggling the past day or so because it's just an expected area where price slows down, momentum slows down. But it seems as if, at least as of this moment, if it can continue to maintain 91K, it should move up from here. And then we can see the macro 618 and 65 lining up with the 14 and 147. So clearly a point of resistance. Need to see its reaction coming into this weekend. We've only got one more day, Friday, before the stock market shuts. And we know going into the weekend there can be false moves. So just need to be aware of that. Low volume. So we don't really like pumping on a Friday, getting us excited for the momentum to completely flatten out, die out, and the bears to take over on the weekend and setting up the start of the new week bearish, and then we don't want a situation like that because that's what we were living through the last few months. My hope is that because we have the moving averages under us now that they have been recovered, now that they're suggesting Bitcoin is bullish, although we have all these resistances and they should get rejected, I'm just hoping that the moving average trend, as it's shifted, they can act as support now. We've also recovered this range low. So I want to see that continued to be support. I don't want to see 88K being lost now. That is how we shifted the trend, by penetrating through this zone. So maintain above that, and we should actually see, even if it gets up into 95, 96 and we see a rejection, just stay above this area and we will see it continue into 100k. Now, this is the ultimate resistance. This is what I've been saying all throughout these months, which is what will keep me bearish. Still has the probabilities to be a much larger macro move down. Of course, even a rejection from here, you could just put in a higher low to continue higher. Of course, that can be the case. But the realms of possibility are still there for something like this. I know Global M2 says otherwise, and currently it's actually following Global M2 with this sort of skyrocketing motion. We're going up vertically like what M2 was showing, and now it's showing something like this happening, maybe Bitcoin rejecting 120k, 115 to 120k before putting in somewhat of a rejection and then continuing higher. I need to see something like that. So I need the M2 chart to be listened to, because once again, it's all about the 886 fib. And if you don't remember and you're tuning in for the very first time, make sure, if you haven't already, to support the channel. It really does go far, bumping up the algorithm, liking, commenting, subscribing, whatever it is. Share the content if you can. Check out the Twitter as well. We'll dive into that soon. But we just can't get caught out once again like last year. Many times we were calling bottoms. 1 month later, it was pumping from that point. So you can see here, May the 1st, June the 6th, 1 month later, we've just been pumping for straight month, daily. You know, there might have been a pullback for a few days, but boom, showing the momentum continues in the bullish direction. All for it to top out at the most important fib. It needs to break the 886. It can't just get up to it. That is what is going to continue to be the risk. And we can see in the end, it did put in new lower lows. And actually the same thing occurred on the next bottom, which I called as the bottom. Because once again, a month passes of every single day being bullish. July the 5th to July the 30th. Okay, just under a month, maybe just under a week away from being a month. Yet, you know, being bullish every single day through that period, we're thinking it's sustaining, it's recovering the moving averages, just like it is now. It recovered the moving averages here and here, in the end losing them, because it never pushed past that 886. Reaching it, yeah, great. It means it's the final level to break, but we need to actually see it break. Otherwise, we can see new lower lows comes. Now, eventually, at some point, the trend has to change. That 886 has to break, and we can see it flipped in support. Bitcoin over time is going to go higher. So yes, at some point, it will break the 886. But we can see it took many attempts to actually break through that area. And each time that it failed, a new lower low formed. So I don't want to see Bitcoin lower than 74, because what would that do to altcoins? Me personally, I genuinely would like to see Bitcoin under, because I'm going to be getting chances to be accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible at lower prices. So of course I want more time for that. But yeah, due to what happened over the last year, that's why I'm going to remain cautious. Even though so far M2 has been calling for a move up like this, and we're actually seeing that move being followed so far, I do hope that it breaks past 100 and 104k. Right now, that's my expected target out of this breakout down over here. I do have some other charts we can show. Here is a chart showing resistance. So although we're recovering these horizontal levels, there are also diagonal levels, and we can see this was a double top, or you can even say a head and shoulders pattern over here being used, this trend line being used as the neckline. So of course, highest point to the lowest, or well, back to the neckline, we can see what the expected target would be. Once that target is met, we're looking for reversal patterns. So we can clearly see that's what we've got down over here. Could be ugly to the untrained eye, but we do have a double bottom down over here. Guys, if you ever want to get educated, I've got an ebook. I've got one-to-one mentorship plans. I've got a Discord community. You're not only getting extra content, I'm in there to answer all your questions, but also do live streams, Q&A live streams, as well as analyzing the charts, telling you what I'm doing with my portfolio. Even in the last day, I bought my first alternative to Bitcoin, and literally moved up 150% in the past 24 hours. The Discord taken advantage of that. If you want to find out about my portfolio changes, the link is in the description to get educated. So we can also see this diagonal trend line, which gave us a target. From that point, after meeting target, we have got no further expectation of lower unless there's Fibonacci's suggesting lower targets. Didn't quite manage to reach the 2 fib, but we can see the 1618, that very first bounce after meeting the head and shoulders target or the double top target, we got this reversal back up into the neckline, but is used as resistance to attempt a new lower low. We can see it failed as the body closed above 78k. In the end, still maintained the trend under the moving averages, lower highs. That's what precedes. What precedes next is lower lows. We can see that level was actually recovered, confirmed a support right there on the 1618 with that red candle, and then followed by a higher high. So we're already seeing characteristic changes. And then once that 88.8k level was broken, we can see complete changes. So I was personally anticipating from this area, if you're watching my videos and even Discord, for a move back down, as you can see, into this key level of support. Market didn't even give that, showing you how bullish it is. So because there was a build-up of a week where the momentum completely flattened out, we're actually getting bearish candlesticks here, the moving averages, the trend change and the moving averages held. So now that we're above the moving averages, we need to see them developing as the bars keep printing, but maintaining. So now that we cleared this range, hold above the moving averages, hold above this 88k level, or just call it 89k, and we should target 100k. But you can see ultimately this neckline of the double top or the head and shoulders will be resistance once again in the future. This is where I'm expecting it to get rejected, because we're really picking up steam, we're really heating up, and I don't like that personally. I'd rather build up slowly. The faster we pump, it could be seen as something more corrective. We just need to be aware. So there's multiple things saying be careful. We've got the trend line, we've got the 886, we've shown previous examples in today's update. Guys, hopefully you found some value in this video. Again, I'm expecting while above 89k for the continuation, but around the levels of even as early as 98 to 105, I round it up to. That is where I'm expecting a tough task for Bitcoin to continue through, as easy as it has been like this past few weeks. So just need to be careful, because previously we've seen lower highs, macro lower highs, followed by macro lower lows. In it, even if it gets rejected here, it's not 100% confirmation of the new lower lows. I will be looking for higher low bounces. I would continue to say stay above 89k. So in an event something like this happened, where it rejects 100k, we would want to see this 89k held for another push through. But global M2 is suggesting a move that completely pushes it through like butter and then gets out from it. Either way, guys, just know one day when 105k is recovered, we got this 120 to 160k as our next targets for Bitcoin. Don't forget that I have made some portfolio changes in the Discord community, and we are up over 150% in the past 24 hours. If you want to find out more about that, tune into live streams where you can ask me anything. Use the links down below found in the description. Also follow me over to my Louis Crypto Twitter, Louis_crypto. Yeah, that's where another place you can find the links to the website. But I have been updating on here like crazy the past few days, which is the opposite of what the YouTube content. Haven't been posting any. It's just because I've got so much going on. I run my own Discord community. That is where I'm spending majority of my time. And this is another place where it's easier to get some further updates out. So yeah, just go check over here. There's some interesting viewpoints. I pretty much already made this update in written format on Twitter. So we can see I'm expecting 95 to 105k after that breakout. Since that picture, it actually hasn't moved, right? We're still in that same location. But what it's been doing over the past few days is, although the momentum's flattened out, we're seeing once a level that was previously support flipped into resistance right there, now being recovered. So slowing down is totally fine as long as we're creating a higher low in order to continue this move up into 98 or 99 to 105k. And we can see the alignment of those Fibonacci's. So this is what we call confluence. Find out more, get educated down below.